Story 1. United Healthcare leaked 40% of the US protected health information and medical records. They told the Senate they should have multi-factor authentication and reportedly paid hackers $22.5 million to get unransomed. How they have skirted dissolution is beyond me. Story 2. There's a cereal bar not too far from my house. It's in a strip mall, not really within reasonable walking distance from any housing. It's $9 for a bowl of cereal or $11 for all you can eat. Fancy milk is extra. They only serve Keurig coffee, not a full coffee bar. You have to make a conscious decision to wake up, shower, get dressed, and drive to have a bowl of cereal or many for the price of a couple of boxes. I don't get it. Story 3. There's this vacuum shop right next to a tobacco store I used to go to. They only sold vacuum cleaners. I never saw anyone in there, ever, other than someone standing behind the front desk. I once asked the guy at the tobacco shop if he had ever seen someone go in there, and he laughed for a second, then seriously thought about it and said, "I don't know." So that place. Story 4. Posh soap shops in resort areas. I live near an area like that, and I never see people walking in or out. Seriously, how many bars of soap do you need to sell just to make rent, let alone pay the staff? Story 5. The class ring company Herf Jones has been known for its poor quality even back in the 80s and 90s. They would ship unfinished rings to people just to deliver them on time. Their philosophy seemed to be, if they don't like it, they can send it back, signaling their acceptance of this practice. Nowadays, you would be fortunate if a stone stays in place, assuming the ring fits at all. Story 6. Perhaps not a company, but I wonder how all these I'm a major studio and have created my own streaming service, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on content that is only released there are still around. Like, the bubble should have burst 2 years ago, but somehow they're still betting and losing on becoming the next big thing. Story 7. Heart's Pet Products. My girlfriend is a vet tech and owns a dog grooming business. I hang out there and sometimes help out. I have seen so many animals affected by these products. The worst culprit is the flea collar. So many animals have adverse reactions to these collars. I've seen everything from hair falling out to massive skin reactions. My girlfriend always tells every customer to avoid all Heart's products. The problem is that they are cheap and readily available at most stores. Considering the small sample size of my girlfriend's business on the whole pet market, I cannot conceive how this company is still in business after all these years. Story 8. I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and a local furniture store, Tyner Furniture, has this giant store and parking lot. The parking lot could fit hundreds of cars, but I only ever see 2 or 3 cars when I pass by. And I pass by a lot. I mean, I guess people aren't going often, but I do question it. Story 9. I am trying to figure out how all of the marijuana dispensaries are still open in my city. You cannot throw a stone without hitting the window of a dispensary. One would think the market is oversaturated, and a few would go out of business. Story 10. Kodak is still operating, but only in a small capacity, unlike before. They were one of the biggest photography companies before, but since the digital age, they failed to adapt against their competitors. Story 11. Columbus, Ohio's busiest shopping district, on High Street, has a store that legitimately only sells lampshades and nothing else. Who is buying this many lampshades? Why have I actually seen customers in there too? Story 12. Not currently in business, but one that stuck around for a long time was Fry's Electronics. One of my favorite places to go, but it was clear they had serious issues getting products for more than 5 years since the shelves were mostly bare. They hung on for dear life until COVID hit, then they went under. Every time I drive by the shell of the store, I have a moment of silence. Story 13. Mattress stores. How often are people buying mattresses, and in quantities sufficient to warrant so many mattress stores? Aren't all but the cheapest low-quality mattresses a product that lasts 15 to 20 years? Story 14. CenturyLink, Lumen, or whatever their newest name is. Anyone who has worked with them on the business side can attest to the profound dysfunction that exists within that company. I've watched them lose track of so much money and equipment. No department talks to any other department. I can't imagine how frustrating it must be on the inside. Story 15. Jeep, as a brand, is consistently ranked at or near the bottom for quality almost always. Just empty every pocket is a fun acronym for a reason, but people still buy them. Quiznos. Yes, some are still around. Kentucky Fried Chicken. There are way too many competitors with a much better product now. Story 16. Long John Silver's. I've never had it. I don't know anyone who has, and there's one by me that's been in business for years, but I never see anyone there. Feels like a fake business. Story 17. Best Buy. Went to buy a laptop last summer, and the sales representative did not like my choice. They argued with me so much that I left empty-handed and ended up buying on Amazon. Story 18. There's a Lazy Boy store near me. I drive by it nearly every day. There are never any cars in the enormous parking lot. None. The employees must have to park behind or something, which is dumb because a few employee cars would make it look like it might be open. There's zero chance this store even makes payroll, let alone overhead. There had to be money laundering or something going on because they're surely not selling recliners. Story 19. Harley Davidson. With all the help they've received from the American government, they produced subpar motorcycles that need customization to perform. Install an aftermarket high-performance camshaft, even a high-flow air filter that is superior in every way and not an overpriced Harley-Davidson part warranty canceled. And they charge almost double what a comparable non-Harley-Davidson bike would cost. Incredibly, low value for the buck spent isn't what their customers are upset about. They are ostensibly upset about the CEO being woke. Story 20. There's a place in my city that is right in the middle of downtown where rent is high. They sell Bibles and wigs and look like they haven't remodeled since the 70s. I've never seen anyone going in or out of there either. Story 21. We have a wild bird feed store where I live, with a prime location in a busy shopping center. I've never seen anyone go in or out, and I've never met a person who has gone in there. Story 22. There is or was a peanut butter-themed sandwich restaurant in New York City called Peanut Butter and Company. I went in once and asked for a peanut butter sandwich without jelly, as I do not like jelly. The person had to go in the back and ask their boss. He came back and told me he couldn't serve me that without charging me for the jelly. Again, it was a peanut butter-themed sandwich shop. I had asked for a peanut butter sandwich. Story 23. The Circle K. The bathrooms, if available, at a Circle K are akin to the copy shop sketch from Chappelle's show. If 3 people are in line, get comfortable. How they stay in business in Arizona, where Quick Trip exists, is a head-scratcher. Story 24. Wiener Schnitzel. How do they make their hot dogs so terrible? People love hot dogs. This place should be just as popular as McDonald's, but they're just so bad. Story 25. We have had a comics shop in my area for years and years that was essentially a collector's shop. Their stock was pitiful, maybe a few dozen individual books, selling for hundreds of dollars or more. There were no actual ongoing series, figurines, merchandise, anything like that. Just a few rare books. I'm not really a comics guy, but I never understood how you could stay in business like that. There can't be enough demand to keep a steady income stream. Earlier this month, they were raided. The police seized a ton of cash and weapons. I don't remember if there were drugs or not, as there were several other raids around the same time. Story 26. Hooters. How this relic of the 1980s has survived the current socio-political climate without a Generation Z mob picketing them every single day is a mystery to me. Story 27. All the tiny boutique clothing and gift shops in my area. Everything is horribly overpriced, clothes are all size 0 to 1, and you never see much foot traffic in or out. I swear they are all tax write-offs for some Southern hierarchy nonsense. So very annoying and pretentious. Story 28. Persian rug places. There are a couple near me that I have never once seen a customer in. I went in once just out of curiosity, and there were no price tags on any of the rugs. When I asked how much a small one was, I was quoted over $1,000 by one of the shady salesmen. I am 99% sure they're just fronts for money laundering, as I have never seen anyone enter either shop other than employees. Story 29. Infinity. They have had the same car platform, interior engine, and so on for more than 10 years for almost their entire vehicle lineup, with nothing compelling coming out apart from an overhauled large SUV. Story 30. I'm perplexed about how Spirit Halloween seems to stay afloat. Their business model seems quite bizarre, but I guess it works. It also makes me wonder why there isn't a Christmas equivalent when the season for it seems longer and more focused around purchasing goods. Story 31. GameStop. Last year, I bought the Harry Potter game from them because I like physical games still. I got home, unsealed it, and realized it only played on the new generation Xbox. I brought it back, and GameStop said no returns once the seal is broken. So, I bought a new copy at Best Buy, returned it to GameStop, and returned the broken seal copy to Best Buy. This is just a tiny example of how foolish GameStop's business model is, but I don't know who's still shopping there. That was the last straw for me. Story 32. They were literally the video streaming service for years. COVID hit and they fumbled so hard compared to Zoom. My college students have never even heard of Skype. The space is also now filled with dozens of other alternatives, often free or included with other services. If I recall correctly, their market share was something like 10%, being beaten out by Zoom, Google, and Microsoft Teams, but I can't imagine Discord and a few other platforms aren't also a factor. Story 33. FedEx. Everything I receive from them is either damaged or late. The job is terrible and the pay is terrible. Not sure why anyone would continue to work there. Story 34. There is an expensive neighborhood in the heart of my city where rent is hefty. They appear to have not had a remodeling since the 1970s and sell Bibles and wigs. Nor have I ever witnessed someone entering or leaving that area. Story 35. Radio Shack. Every time I pass one, I'm amazed it still exists. I haven't seen anyone actually go inside in years, yet somehow they're still hanging on.